Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the Advanced Platformer series, and in this video we are gonna continue by finally getting started with the interactivity part of our game. So in order to begin, what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and first of all we are going to create an interface for deciding which thing is interactive and which is not, and then we'll go ahead and also make a system for casting the race from the player, so that we can find out whether there's something like that's supposed to be interactive, like there is something that we can interact with. So yeah, that is what we are going to basically be doing. So yeah, let's get started with that. So for that, let's first go ahead in here, and I'm going to add a empty object which I'm going to call button, because the very basic thing is going to be button, and that is what we are going to start with. So we are going to start with a very simple and basic button. I'm going to make it at 0 0 and 0, and I'm going to actually right click on this, and actually not right click, we'll go here, right click, and create a new folder which we'll call prefabs, because of course we are going to be using a lot of buttons, so it would make sense to make it a prefab. So we'll go ahead and make the button into a prefab. Now we'll actually open this prefab up, and we can add a bunch of different components here. So first thing we'll add is we'll start by adding the actual looks of the button and the graphics to decide kind of what the button looks like, and then we'll add the other thing, which is going to be it's going to basically be the interactivity part of the button, which is going to allow our player to detect it and interact with it. So let's do that. So now here you can see that I've already created the main graphics part here, and I would encourage you to get some actual assets for this switch, but I just made this up from basic shapes. So we have got a sphere here, which is the base of the switch here, and its ordering layer is 1, and I have scaled it kind of to match this. And then we have got a parent object called rotate, which has got a rotation of -40 degrees. This is we are going to use to actually rotate our switch, and it's centered here so that we can kind of have this as the pivot when we actually turn our switch. So the other sphere we have got here, which I have scaled in the way that I wanted, and also it's a child of the rotate, so when we rotate, this happens automatically, and since the rotate pivot is this, it will always rotate about the center of the base. And we have also got a circle, which I have set the ordering layer to 1, so that it's displayed on the top of everything, and it's basically the it's just like a stylish thing on the top of the switch. And you might want to scale it a bit down, actually not on the X. You might want to scale it somewhat down on the Y. It's up to you really. You can scale it to whatever value you like. So yeah, that is pretty much it, and we can just go ahead and select our rotate, and we can rotate this in order to create the thing that it is rotating our switches. So that is pretty awesome, but currently our switch is not interactable, of course, and let me rename this to switch though, because button is not really that accurate, I guess. Yeah, let's rename file. So yes, this is our switch here, and if I go in here, you can see we have got let me just delete that. Let's add a new fresh switch here, and let's just position it somewhere around actually it's not even moving really, so let's just position it somewhere around here. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So we have got that done, and the next thing to do is to create a system for actually interacting with this switch. Now for this, what we are going to do is we are going to create a base class called a base component class called you can just call it interactable, which will represent any kind of interactable. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go under our scripts, and in here we'll create a new C# script which we can just call interactable, and we are going to just call it interactable. And this script is not actually going to be attached to anything. It's going to just represent a basic kind of abstract class, you could say. It is going to be basically having the system for actually doing stuff here. It's going to have an empty method which we can override, and every interactable basically inherits from this class. We won't exactly make it abstract in the actual technical sense, but let's just go ahead and create that class so that it contains a method that everything that we want to be interactable can call. So let's do that, and we are going to go ahead and remove all of this code from here, because we don't really need any of that, and we are going to remove this as well. Now the only thing we are going to add is going to be a function that we can override in our child classes, that is going to be for which you can just call whenever we want to interact with this. So in order to do that, we'll create a uh, virtual here, a virtual void called interact. So we'll call that, and this is going to just not really take any parameters. Actually it is going to take a actually my keyboard is kind of working badly, so we are going to call this interact, and the only thing it's going to take is it's going to take a player called player. The reason we have that is because we might want to access the player, so it might be good to have it. So we are going to make it just empty by default. We are not going to leave it unimplemented, but we are going to make it that, and of course we want to make this member public, so virtual public void. Yeah, so we have got that, and this is the function that we are going to call whenever we need to interact with anything, and this is the function that we are going to basically go ahead and we are going to basically go ahead and override it in the child classes like switch and other stuff that we are going to add as well. So that is pretty awesome, and we have got our interactable class done. And yeah, this is just a short class. It's a skeleton of what we can do with this, and this single function is pretty much all we need for right now. So let's go ahead and go here, and currently you can see our switch does not have anything, but we are going to add right click and create a new script which we are going to call let's just call it switch. So switch, yeah, and what you are going to do is go ahead and let's just go ahead and open this up, enter plus enter, and you can see that it opens this up. And now we are going to remove this, and we are going to remove this as well, but we are not going to actually inherit from mono behavior, but instead we are going to inherit from interactable does inherit from mono behavior, so that's not really a problem. So in here what we are going to do is we are going to create a public override, and the function we want to override is interact. So we'll just go ahead and do that, and we'll remove this base.interact body by our own body. And what we'll add here is we'll say just for example we can say debug.log, and we can just use the this syntax for the string in order to put our player name here directly. We can say I got pressed. You can just put any message here. I'll just say I got pressed by player dot name, so player dot name. And yeah, so this is going to basically kind of work, I guess, and we are going to basically use this to kind of debug if our switch is working or not. But of course, in order to actually see the effects of this, what we'll have to do is we'll have to ensure that we actually cast some rays from the player in order to determine whether it hits anything, and that is what we are going to do in the next video. We are going to add a key for interaction, and then we are going to make our player cast a ray, and if it hits an interactable, then call the interact method. So that is what we are gonna do the next video, so stay tuned for that, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss that, and share this video with other people as well, and bye.